The next thing I found, look at verse 11, because it's very interesting how Peter communicates. I mean, I know he was inspired, but this is his personality too. So after all that buildup that you're priests and this holy priesthood and all that stuff, look at verse 11. Beloved, I beg you. Wow. I mean, I can feel that. I mean, Peter is looking at people and he knows they're chugging toward the fire. Literally. They were burning people. I beg you, as aliens or sojourners and as pilgrims, that's a temp. Remember when businesses were only hiring temps? They didn't want to give them benefits, so these temps, you're temporary. Peter says, you're aliens and temps. And your goal in life is not to be at home and permanent. See, he's emphasizing this. He said it's okay to be going toward the fire. You're a sojourner. You're a pilgrim. And if you really have all this salvation happen to you, what God did, abstain from fleshly lust, which war, boy, that's an interesting word, stratuantai is a Greek word. It means to use military strategy. It's a very Roman legionnaire word. And what it says is, abstain from fleshly lust, because Satan has designed our flesh to be at war. And so, watch out. This is what I wrote in my journal now. I wrote my 8th point I found in 1 Peter chapter 2. Watch out. Lust is always trying to ambush me. My flesh is always seeking to defeat me. Peter says the way we make it is we have 3 new perspectives. Look what he says. In verses 11 and 12, he says, you are a pilgrim. We're pilgrims. I mean, if we saw you out in the campground with, an 8-pound or a 12-pound sledgehammer putting metal stakes that were this long on your tent, we'd go, how long are you? Paul would say, how long were you planning to stay? We close this down. I mean, we all know what it means to be a pilgrim, to be temporary, we don't pound our stakes too deep. Secondly, we're citizens. Look at verse 13. Therefore, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake. Whether the king is supreme, who was the king that day? I've already said it. It's a 4-letter word. Nero. What was his name? What does he say to do to him? Submit yourself to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether to the king as supreme. Do you know who some of the people in the whole world that don't think their governor is supreme and they don't think they should be honored are people that politically disagree with their king or their governor or whoever? Do you know what the God of the universe says that we are supposed to be? We're supposed to be the most submissive to every ordinance of man, not because the governor or the Supreme Court justice or the president or the speaker of the whatever is in agreement with us, but because God chose Joe Biden to be the president. You didn't, and the Democrats didn't. God did. God actually wanted him to be the president. Isn't that interesting? And he wanted the one before him, the one with the light hair, he wanted him to be the president. And did you know he wanted the one before him? And we can go all the way back to every one that you like or dislike. It says in the Bible I read that God raises up the leaders. And God wanted Nero to light a fire literally under the church to get them doing what he called them to do. And when he lit the fire under them, the church multiplied through their adversity. Not financially. It wasn't because they were loaded and had enough money to blanket the airwaves with the gospel. I meet so many people and their goal in life is to earn enough money that someday they're going to give it to the Lord. I doubt they will, because money is very addictive. What God wants you to do is today to be a pilgrim and not pound your stakes too deep, to be a citizen and never be at home here on the earth, but to honor the King and to be servants. I got to finish this. Look at verse 17. Honor all people, So Christians are never prejudiced, never racist, never, looking down on anyone. We honor everyone. We love the brotherhood. We fear God. And we honor all the Neros that he sets up. By the way, did you know Nero was bisexual? Did you know that? He had a real wife. Poppaea was her name. He did crush her to death with his sandal. He stomped her to death with his metal spiked sandals. That isn't very nice. I believe one historian said she was expectant when he did it. And he kicked her and killed her. And then he castrated. Boy, that's probably this one I shouldn't post, but he castrated his male slave named Florus and married his male slave Florus. And for the rest of his reign, after he got rid of Poppaea, he rode in the chariot with his arm around Florus as his wife. Now, I just want to give you that little Wikipedia article on Nero, and look at verse 17. That was going on while Peter was writing this. And he says, honor all people. Love the other believers. Fear God, and honor that guy that's your emperor right now, that's wasting all the public money. He did. He wasted all the public money building his houses and everything he did. Honor him. Because we're servants.